All right, so you guys, we want to go over some of the things that are components of the Auvoria Connect. All right, and I'm going to cover them all. So you're going to be able to watch this again and again and again and again, so that you can get the proper vernacular of what is going on. So the first thing that I want to teach you is when somebody asks you to click on the title bar. That is the area of the screen that they're talking about. Can everybody see that? All right. It's highlighted in red at the top. That's called a title bar. This is a Windows term. All right. It's called a title bar in every application that exists on your laptop or computer. So this isn't, you know, how shall I say, unique to the MetaTrader 4. This is called a title bar. Why? Because it contains the title of the software usually. All right. So if somebody asks you to click on the title bar, that's what they're talking about. Okay, next. The next thing that we have is called a menu bar. Okay, so if somebody says go to the menu bar, go to tools or go to Windows or something like that, that's what they're talking about. That is a menu bar. Okay, again, most of what I'm covering to start with here is just simple Windows stuff. Now this makes it easier when I say, hey, go to the menu bar, go to window on the menu bar, and I don't have to wait, or somebody else doesn't have to wait for 3 minutes for you to find it because I can't drive your computer for some reason, all right? That's where it lives. That's where it always lives. It never moves. Okay, the next one that we have, this is called the top row in this application, toolbar. So when someone says go to the last icon on the top row of the tool, on the first toolbar, that's what they're talking about. Or go to the 4 square on the top row toolbar. That's what they're talking about, is that toolbar right there. Now this assumes that you haven't moved all this stuff around because it is movable. Okay, but this is a standard setup for the Auvoria Prime MetaTrader. All right, so then based on this and everybody knowing that this is the top row toolbar, what do you think, and put it in the chat box, what might be the name of that thing right there? The profit maker toolbar. Bottom row toolbar, second row toolbar, all those things work. That is absolutely, Ryan, would you please stop? Meat or trader? That's funny. All right, so lines and frames, yeah, no. That is the bottom row. I call it the bottom row toolbar. And that's where your time frames exist. Now, if we were using a MetaTrader 4 to mark up charts, that's also where your markup tools live. We don't do that. You should probably get yourself a TradingView account in order to mark up charts. It's much easier. All right, if you're not talking, please mute yourself out. Okay, so let's move on. That is the bottom row toolbar. All right, so that's excellent. All right, so next we are going to go to the Market Watch window. Okay, now hopefully, again, all these, this whole environment, you can move around. Why you should know that you can move it around, please mute yourself. Ryan, can you handle that, please, before I go out of my mind? All right, so the Market Watch is where the pairs are at. It's where the bid and the ask is at. And if I had this, if I had to right click on here and put the spread in there, you could see what the difference is between the bid and the ask. But if someone asks you to go to the Market Watch window, whether you have it on top or on bottom, or you pulled it out free, and I'm going to show you guys all this stuff, you should know that it contains the symbols, and it's called the Market Watch window again. All right, so the next window we're going to talk about is the Navigator window. Why is it called Navigator? Well, quite frankly, it allows you to navigate places like to your account, to the indicators, to the expert advisors, to scripts if we could run them. Okay, things like that. So that's called the Navigator window. Again, you can arrange this environment any way you want. I hope that you leave it standard because it just makes life easier for you and everybody else. Now, next, this window is called the Terminal window. Okay, this is where all the magic happens. This is where you can see your trades, your exposure, your account histories, all kinds of different things. And again, I like to expand mine up a little bit, like you can see it here, because our trader has the tendency of placing multiple positions and I want to see them all. Okay, so that is called the terminal window. All right, next. We are going to talk about a chart window. Now, this one blows my mind that people don't actually understand that this is a chart window. Okay, but that is a chart window. In this particular case, we have 3 of them, all right, as denoted by what? At the top of this window, the title bar. Every window has its own title bar. This one happens to say Euro USD daily. The one next to it is Euro JPY daily. The one next to that is USD JPY daily. So that is called the chart window. Okay. And again, I'm teaching you guys this. This may seem rudimentary to you, but it isn't. I promise you. If you would like to come over to my house and sit with me and take the calls that I take, you'll know that this is super important stuff. Learning how to move around in the software quickly can get you on and off the phone and back to your day rather fast. And if you want to learn it so that you can teach it to others in your team, this is how you do it. So here's the next thing that we're going to talk about. This is a favorite of mine. No one ever can find it. These are called chart tabs. So when someone says click on the Euro USD tab, that's where you find them. Now, why would you need to click on that? Well, if you double click them, they will expand the window to full screen, which is super helpful because we now have a very gigantic panel. And we're going to go through that here in just a second. So those are called chart tabs. All right, next, these are called terminal tabs. There are tabs all over this thing, right? Chart tabs, terminal tabs. So if someone says, hey, click on the experts terminal tab or expert tab, you know that that's one of the terminal tabs, and you can just drag your little mouse right to it, click on it so that someone can see what they're doing. Right click in the terminal window on account history is something that people should do or will do from time to time. And so it's easy to find it. Terminal window account tab is at the bottom. You can see right now that the trade tab is what is selected. All right, so moving on into the environment. This is what your trader will look like if you double click on one of the chart tabs. It's a shortcut for full screen. Double click the chart tab, goes to full screen. Double click it again, it goes back to being tiled like in the previous screen. So let's talk about this, all right? A little bit of a reverence here. Can anybody tell me what that is called? Somebody in the chat. Nancy says no. Am I sharing the screen? Yeah. I am sharing my screen. Can anybody not see the screen?
We can see it out.
Okay, great. The black box, the trade window. All right. Excellent. Keep going. Anybody else venture to guess? We don't have an answer yet. That makes sense. Software you're not allowed to play, Jacoby. Okay, but software status box, that would work. JDoc says it's the thingamadoc. Yes, it is that. All right, so I'm going to tell you what I call it. All right, the chart panel or the software panel, or when I'm irritated, the freaking panel. All right, so it's the panel. It's our software panel. It gives you tons of information. All right, click on the freaking panel. You might hear me say that once in a while. All right, so here we go. What does this thing actually do? Well, number one, it can do a lot of things for you. Those are buttons. They are clickable. They're fairly well labeled by software development standards. Software developers don't typically do things in the English language, but you can do the following things. You can sign out of your software. You can reset your weekly goal, which is bad juju. Don't do it. Don't be greedy. If you hit I don't know if you guys heard Ryan's wonderful audio about how hedge fund guys are trying to get 1% a week, and if they do, it's astronomical. In other words, if they've done 52% in a year over 52 weeks, they've averaged 1%. There would be people throwing billions of dollars at these people. Yet somehow when we get into Forex, we think we're playing craps. Oh, I just hit, I don't even know how to play craps. I have no idea. We're playing cards, whatever. We are not. This is not gambling. Okay, this is, you know, statistics. This is probabilities. This is mathematics, right? If you get 1%, you should be stoked. Where else can you get it? You can't get it at a bank, not in a week, all right? Not even close. You know, I mean, it just isn't available out there. So if you can get 1% a week, you should be fired up. So don't be greedy. Okay, you can also reset your equity protection. And like a good friend of mine and Ryan's, well, not really a good friend, but an acquaintance at the very least, says, that's like jamming an ice pick into your kneecap, okay? It will be painful. Why in the world would you reset your equity protector if it just hit, right? No, you would not do that. You just got aced out of the market because you hit your equity protector. Resetting it, bad idea. So don't do it, all right? Then we have two other windows that we're gonna talk about, okay? And these windows do a lot, all right? This is where the information is Simon, I like Simon's name for it, software status box. This is where it all happens. Now, I'm not gonna go through each one of these now because I'm about to take you into a live trading account. I have no idea what condition it's in. I guess I could look at my phone real quick, but the last time I looked, it was okay by my standards. By some of your standards, you may not think that it is okay. Oh, it's really okay now. So we'll talk about what is in that box and why it should be important to you. Again, we're trying to teach you guys how to trade. Adeze Duncan is trying to teach you how to trade. Ryan Dr. is trying to teach you how to trade. This isn't, you know, just a little game where you can push some buttons. If you don't know about this stuff, it's just not going to be as fruitful for you as it could be if you'll take the time and educate yourself, specifically on the software that we're using. That's super important. Forex is even more important, but even knowing what these things mean in our software is super, super important. All right, so that's why we record these things. And then we have the final box. And the final box is a status line. This is telling me that I'm trading, or it will tell me that my trailing equity, you know, that I've hit my goal, in which case we get all happy, right? And we get a little happy guy down there. Now, I am going to take you guys into a live environment to demonstrate what we have just learned. All right, so inside your Auvoria Prime account, whether you're a customer or an affiliate, all right, you're gonna have this thing called Auvoria Prime Connect. And you're gonna have this drop down that says select your instance, and the instance really should be select the account, but you know, that's an argument for another day. That's a programming term. It is appropriate if you were a programmer, so it's not so vocally friendly. As you can see, I may be able to have more than one instance, which is really an account. So anyways, once you've selected that, okay, and for your new people that are coming, brand new people, it takes about 25-30 minutes to set up this instance, so to speak. So if you come here and you don't see anything in the drop down and you're aching to get going, you cannot connect. You can't. All right. There's got to be something in this drop down. All it means, if there's nothing there, is that you don't need to send this ticket or do any of this stuff, although you could. All it means is that your VPS has not been set up yet. Once you have set it up, you click on connect to your VPS, which then brings us out to this. All right, and this is the VPS already been running. All right, let me get these tools out of the way. All right, and let's get going here. All right, so here is the window, the title bar. If I click it and hold it, I can move around my window. All right, so if someone says to you, hey, grab the title bar and move it to the left, you're going to do that. That's what it allows you to do, okay? Now, if you double click it, watch what happens. So you double click it and things get too big for the screen and you have to scroll and all kinds of things. So double click it again and it will readjust itself. So there you go. All right, that's how this particular title bar works. In fact, they all work that way. All right, then we're going to go to the menu here where you can't do a whole lot in this. Try and steer clear of this for the most part. because there are some locked up areas that if you accidentally click, for example, if I were to click on file and try to click that open data folder, no bueno. Okay, I'm getting locked out of my account immediately. And that's to keep prying eyes from trying to get our hands on our software and things like that. Okay, so that is that. This toolbar coincides with a lot of things that you can do from the view window. Okay, you can see here there's all kinds of shortcuts too. The control key for you non-Mac users. I am a Mac user, so that would be the command key. More than likely, the data window, the navigator window, which we talked about, the terminal window, strategy tester, which you don't need to know anything about at this point, more than likely, unless you're an experienced trader. And that's only if you're building softwares and strategies inside the platform, so that's not going to happen. But you can, if you've lost your Market Watch window, you can get it back by going to View and clicking on Market Watch. Or look at that little icon, the 2 up and down arrows. Guess what? Coincides with this little icon, the 2 up and down arrows. That is the Market Watch toolbar. Okay, so get familiar with this stuff. Here's your, probably the button you're going to use the most on the top row toolbar is the Auto Trader. If not, it's going to be this one. All right, which arranges the windows. Watch what happens when I click it. Hey, nice. All right, now the problem with this view is that if I want to read the panel or the software status panel, I can't see it. And nothing that I do will make me see it until I double click. Okay, now double clicking on this tab down here would be doing the same thing as clicking this. Here's the one thing about software. There's 50 ways to skin a cat. So the ways that I'm showing you, or the way that I move around the software, you can certainly do it another way. You can even double click on this, this tab right here, or I should say this title bar, and watch what happens. It has the same effect as clicking on this title bar. Why? Because it's part of a Windows standard API, the way that Windows works. Learn Windows and you can learn this piece of software. It has nothing to do with really learning this software. Now, I'd mentioned to you earlier, had I right-clicked in this window and chose spreads, I can actually see the spreads. Those are in points. So this is a 1/10 of a pip. This is why we love LQDFX, because their spreads are massively low, as are their commissions and everything else, right? This one is just a single pip. So it's the points divided by 10, and I'm not going to get all into that. So again, double clicking that title bar, then I can come down here and I can double click this, and guess what happens? It goes back to the way that it was. So again, multiple ways to do this. All right, I can click this, I can double click this, or whatever I want to do. My preference when I want to look at something is to double click on the tab. And of course, I was going to say it isn't going to work. When I double click on the tab, it tells me, it expands to full screen. Now, if I want to look at the next pair over, all I have to do is click on it, and guess what? I'm going to see it. I should see it in full screen. Yes, I do. Okay, and you can see all my little positions here on this particular lovely pair, which is making a serious retrace right now. Yay. All right, we'll talk a little bit about that. And then the Euro USD. So let's go back to the USD JPY and let's just look at this deal. Okay, so I told you I was going to cover everything that is in that status panel. So let's start with the very first thing called net position. Okay, what is that number and why should you care about it? Well, first of all, what chart are we on? We're on the USD JPY. So let's go down here in the open trades that I have and try to find all the USD JPYs. And I have 3 of them there. And if I click on the symbol right here, it's going to pull them all together. So I only have 3. All right. Now, at first blush, if you were to look at the size, which is representative of the lot size, okay, you would see that my opening lot size is an 03. Then it bumped to a level 1, then a level 2. And so it's 03, 04, 05. Guess what? When you add those up, what do you get? 0.12. Now, when I said at first blush, I meant that for a reason, because that's not exactly how that's calculated. Well, it is. but it would also take into consideration your sell positions if you had them. So the way that it works is it's going to add the buys up and then subtract the sells, and that's going to be your net position. Or add the sells up and subtract the buys. It doesn't matter. The math comes out the same, so that you know what your risk is in lot sizes with this particular contract or pair. You can call it a contract, you can call it a pair, whatever you want to call it. Both are accurate. And that's what the net position is. Then we have the symbol floating profit and loss. Why is it floating? Because everything, again, if you're not talking, could you please mute yourself out? The symbol P&L, all right, is a simple thing, all right? It's profit and loss, and it's floating. Why? Because it hasn't closed yet. I've seen a lot of talk in the threads today. Remember, drawdown is not a loss. That is 100% accurate. Drawdown is money that's working for you. I even hate the term drawdown. It's the amount of money that you currently have in the positions that you have in the marketplace in order to try and work a gain. You can't work a gain with no money in the marketplace, y'all. Ain't happening. Okay, that's like saying, you know, I want to trade Forex, but I don't want any of my money in the marketplace. I just want to look at it on Wednesday or Thursday and be up a percentage point. No, it doesn't work that way. So this particular symbol has a $23.79 negative position right now. The drawdown is less than 1%. Do I care? No. Okay, the total drawdown, now that's my whole entire account. 19.52% to me is, again, it depends. Everybody has their own personal risk tolerance. That's nothing. All right, I've been in 60% drawdowns before. That's something. Okay, I don't like to get anywhere near that, but I'm not worried about 19%. Why? Because my account has enough balance that I can withstand these big whipsaw market swing things that are going on right now. I'm not worried about it. Now, will I get out of them by Friday? I hope, but if I don't, that's trading, you guys. Do you realize that there are institutional traders or even traders like retail traders like you and I that enter into a trade with the concept of letting it trade for 90 days? Do you not think that they have some ups and downs? What they're looking for is a super long trend. I'm going to move this out of the way. Hopefully it refreshes. Of course not. Why would it? The latency here is more than amazing. Sorry about that, but I'll just point it out right here. You see this downtrend? It actually starts way back here. And each one of these is a day. So if you count these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, this is probably about 2 months ago. Well, we can see it. It was February, right? February the 19th, day before my birthday, if you guys ever want to send me a gift. That would be a long-term trade right there. And somebody's smashing it with that trade. So don't get worried that you're, you know, do we want to carry trades over? No, not if we don't have to. But if you have to, some people, that's a strategy. So don't get your don't get irritated with that if that has to happen. It's okay. It's not a big deal. What we don't want to have happen is to hit these bad boys down here. Those are our stop losses, right? Okay, so the week's performance is the total week's performance. This is a huge number right now. All right, especially based on my settings. Okay, so it is minus 18.69, which means what? Well, let's go into my settings. I'm going to right click on the chart and I'm going to go to Expert Advisors and I'm going to go to Properties. And you guys are going to get to see my settings here, which are much like the settings that I tell everybody. And you can see that I have a trailing equity start at 2%. And if you watched my training from last week or the week prior, and an equity trail by 4%, can somebody tell me how far does my software have to travel right now in order for that equity trail to kick in? Well, the answer is 20.48%. Holy smokes. Now, the software doesn't make the market swing like that. The market's going to swing because the market always finds itself in the same place it started. If you look far enough to the left as my good friend, Dr. Pipper, AKA RDoc, AKA Trading Buddy, AKA Global Jedi. He's got a million names, right? You'll always see the price has been here before. It's been here before. It's been here before. It's been here before. It's been all these places before. And it will be there again. I'm not worried about it. I have enough in my trading account to deal with it. I mean, does anybody want to see this? No, I'd like to start Sunday night and be done by, early Monday morning, but that's just not reality. So that's the week's performance of my account on the overall. The next few are super simple. Next red folder event. There isn't any news on this pair coming up. The current goal, all right, the current goal percentage, I'm not trailing yet. Because why? Because it never got to 2% before it started going south for the winter. All right, again, current goal amount, not trailing yet. So there is nothing that has been done there. All right, so how do we close a trade? Let's see. I'm not closing any of these, and I think that I have actually agreed to the one-click trading, so I'm not going to click it, but you see these little X's over here? If you click those, I'm going to show you something. All right, try not to pay too much attention to what I'm going to show you, but pay a little bit of attention. These little X's will close the trade out. This is how you do it through this platform. Now, if you have not agreed to the one-click trading agreement, what you're going to see, this is what part I don't want you to pay attention to. All right, what you're going to see is you're going to see mine's already on. All right, so now it wouldn't work. All right, this is another way that without clicking the X, you can already agree to it. I don't want to get so deep into it, but you're going to see something like this when you click this X for the first time and it does not close a trade. Why? Okay, here's the reason. This is like autosave in Word. You turn it off and your computer crashes and the document you've been working on for the last 3 hours is gone forever. You can never get it back. Same thing here. This is one-click trading. You make that trade and you accidentally you make that move and you accidentally meant to close the one underneath it. Too bad, gone. So they want to provide this disclaimer for you so that you understand how critical it is. So that's how you close out a trade. All right, super simple, no big deal. Now, the title was troubleshooting your software. So I'm going to share with you guys some things that you should make sure that you do, my opinion, every Sunday. All right, here's the reason why. You have a car, if you don't maintain it, it starts running poorly. We have our health, if we aren't careful with it, it starts to wane, right? Same thing with computers, same thing with servers. This is a literal server somewhere out there that is running. This software is running on it. And so we've got to make sure that things are healthy with the computer and the software. I've heard a bunch of times that, hey, my software is not trading. What do I do? All right, well, there's a number of things that you can do. So let's say that we wanted to sign out, all right? I sign out every Sunday morning and sign back in. We would simply click this. I'm not going to do it. I'm in the middle of trades. I don't want to do it. It's a trading account that's it's a demo, so it wouldn't matter really. But I don't want to have to come back in and reset everything. And there's a reason for that. When you sign out or reset your VM, which is your virtual machine, is what that stands for, chances are you're going to have to go in and reset your settings, which is why we want to create things like this. Templates. Now, let me give you guys a tip. All right. You can do this any way you want. Again, more than one way to skin a cat. I begin my templates with the lot size that the template represents. So if I want to switch everything to an 09, I can in a heartbeat. I already know what the other settings are just because, I'm not familiar with the software. But I have an 01, an 02, an 03, and an 09 when I was really seeing just how aggressive I could get with a $3,000 account. You guys, I've taken this account, software works. I've taken this account, $3,000, all the way to my current balance right now is 3818. I've been as high as 1,013 drawdown. Right now I'm 752 because why? The market's swinging. And And, you know, it's probably going to swing a few more times before it's all said and done here. But the market is going in the right direction. How can I tell? See that little dude right there? That is an uptick in the marketplace. Now, let's cover one more thing. All right. Ryan brought up an incredible point today, and I guess Steve Betterell brought it up in a conversation. You really got to be careful. You can't be in a hurry. You can't want to get rich overnight. This will eat your lunch if that's your attitude. Okay, you cannot do it. So here's the deal. This, out of all the pairs, is the most volatile pair of all of them. The Euro USD should be what you trade if you only have $1,000. And don't be in a gigantic hurry, all right? Because, you know, every dollar that you don't lose is a dollar gained, right? You couldn't put 1,000, and this is a private Zoom, so I'm going to say this. You couldn't put $1,000 in a bank account and hope to gain 1% in a year. It's just not going to happen. So if you only gained 0.25% every week on $1,000, you're going to end up with 52 divided by 4. What's that? I don't know, 15, something like that. Not quite. 12 and a half, something like that. All right, that's amazing. You can't walk into any bank and go, you know, I want 12.5%. Here's $1,000. I'm going to come back and get 12.5% at the end of the year. Or, you know, it just isn't there. So please understand that if you can only start with $1,000, then start with 1,000. Start with the Euro USD pair. Why? It is the most traded pair in Forex. And so it's a safe currency. Then you've got the USD JPY. Then you've got this beast. And you can see where all my drawdown is. Because this thing is about 1.5 to 1 3/4 times more volatile than the other pairs. Okay, you can make big gains. Super. You can make sizable drawdown. So I don't, you know, out of my current, I don't know what my 18%, this is 12% of it, 19%, I'm sorry. All but 7%. And still, again, I don't care about a 19% drawdown. It doesn't bother me any.
Only the bottom was locked.
So hopefully that helps everybody now. Yeah, so we're on to point number 3. Your settings can get whacked if you reset the VM. It certainly resets the environment. So when I was showing you, and I know we've gone pretty long tonight, but when I was showing you how to right click and look at the spreads, if you reset your VM, that goes away. What else goes away is any windows that you've dragged. So if you like to drag up the terminal window, you reset it, it goes away. You got to redo that stuff. So that's why I do it on a Sunday, because it is going to take me about 5-6 minutes, you know, to reset up my environment the way that I like it. And that's just a personal thing. So just make sure that after you log out, log back in, and then you go to the virtual machine reset. What I like to do is this. I close that tab after it's been reset. I go back through my Auvoria Connect inside my back office, and I reconnect with that button. Captain Confusion. Thank you. All right. So then you want to make sure that your auto trading button is turned on. Remember, you don't get trades on your phone until you approve them. I've had people call me, go, I'm not getting any trades. I take them to their back office and there's 6 notifications and they forgot, because they're not used to having to do that. So that's really all I have tonight. You guys have gone over just a little bit. I want to save the rest of the time for any questions and answers that anybody would have. We'll get this up on Facebook soon. So let me stop share. Let me pull this over here. And anybody that has any questions, feel free to now unmute yourself and ask away. I can see Hernan has already unmuted himself. Hi, Hernan.
Hi. So on Sam's MT4, when he closes it and then reopens it, everything's missing. The only thing that shows up is the charts. Is there a way to lock everything in place once you open like the market watch, the navigator, the terminal? Can we lock it in place somehow?
Yeah, that shouldn't go away. I mean, he shouldn't have to reopen those.
Yeah, every time he closes it, the only thing that reappears is just the charts. Everything else is gone. We have to reset it up every time.
Well, I'm more than happy to take a peek with you guys to see if there's something there. Here's what I would do. And again, this is titled troubleshooting, so let's do this. All right. So if we're in Sam's account, I would shut down all those windows, you know, and then reopen those windows and put them exactly where I wanted them. And then tile all the chart windows and then shut it down. Probably somewhere in time he shut it down with just the charts open, and that's what it's remembering.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be a troubleshooting step that I would take.
Okay. All right.
Hey, Alan.
Sir.
If, and this kind of goes to Hernan, if going through that sequence of steps doesn't fix it, I think possibly open a trouble ticket, because you might just have a flawed image. That particular provisioning of that server may have gotten an image, which is what the kind of when you reset your VM, it goes back to the original image. And I wonder if perhaps they have just a faulty image on that particular provisioned instance.
Could be. I have run into an image issue with one of Nan's people for a while. It was really weird. We figured out how to fix it finally, but it was an image that got saved that shouldn't have. And it wasn't, it wasn't critical, but it was annoying. But yeah, that could very well be. Good point, Ryan.
Yeah. So, and anybody who doesn't understand, that's just the tech term for when a new instance gets provisioned or created. They call basically the template of that server an image, just so you guys know.
Correctamundo, my friend. Anybody else have any questions?
Hey, Alan, this is Kenny. I did have a couple of questions.
Yeah, man, fire away.
Okay, so according to the new guidelines, or maybe the guidelines that we should have been following in the first place, we need to close out, if we're on $1,000 starting trade, we need to close out, stay on the Euro USD maybe, and close out the Euro JPY and I forgot the other one, USD JPY, sorry. How do we go about actually closing that out? Now, obviously, I'm trading still because I'm still on 3 windows, so I can't actually do that right now, just like you, Alan.
Right.
Should we wait till maybe Saturday and actually do this?
Well, it depends on where you're at. So, for example, I'll go back to a share screen here real quick, and let me just share. Let's see, this desktop here, and I will pull up a browser. And so let me double click this and just get it back to where it is. So let's look at what's going on with the USD JPY right here. I only have 3 positions open there, total of about -25, about -$30 right there. So in the grand scheme of things, I'm not worried about $30, although there's no point for me to close these out. What you would want to do in this case, all right, there's a couple of things that you could do. Let me show you. First of all, you could right click and go to Expert Advisors and go to Properties and go to the Common tab, and you could disable any additional trades by clicking that button. Notice I'm not turning it off for all 3 charts. I'm only turning it off for this particular contract or pair. Okay, does that make sense, Ken?
Yeah. That's,
okay, so
first time I see that.
Yeah. So now, if I don't want to take any more positions here and I just want to let this thing play itself out, which is what you're being told to do, that's exactly what I would do. If I don't want to take the 30 bucks.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I just to reiterate, what you just mentioned is I take out the live trading option. It will close out the trades that we currently have. It will no longer accept new live trade options.
Not exactly. You got almost all of it correct. Okay. By taking these trades. Okay. So guys, when you see trades in your trade tab in the terminal window, right? These trades have already been shuttled out into the marketplace. Now, this is a demo account, so that's the one piece of the demo account that doesn't really happen. But the simulation is that that's what's occurred. So the software only sends additional instructions like adjust the stop loss, adjust the take profit. Okay, but the trade's already gone. All right, it's already doing its thing. Okay, and by the way, this is the trade, this is a position, and this is a position. All three of these make up one trade. All right, so if I were to turn off live trading again, right click on that chart, Euro USD, actually, sorry, US, what is it? USD JPY. Come over here, right click on that chart, go to Expert Advisors, go to Properties, go to the Common tab, and unclick it. All that means is I'm not going to get any more live trades, and this is important, okay, it is no longer going to adjust my stop losses and takes profits. They're out there in the marketplace. So what, I'm not going to close those trades down. So what would close those trades down would be a retracement or price action that comes back in my direction. In other words, from where it is right now in a sell, and it starts to move back up, it's going to take me out of those all by itself. Actually, it won't even do that. As soon as, and JP Richardson likes to say this, you know, as soon as a trade makes you smile, take it out. All right. As soon as you would see these things, maybe 240, maybe that's okay with you. You could click on this and take it out. Maybe you wait till they're $1 in profit or whatever, but you would have to manually take those out at the right time. What's the right time? I don't know. It's different for every person. Does that make sense?
Yeah, your level of risk, what you're willing to entertain a loss,
100%, sir.
how close you can get to the equal zero balance of this.
Correct. 100% correct statement. So that's how you would do it. And then all you have to do is just close the, well, it would be this chart. Then all you got to do is just close the chart. It's that simple. You do that with this little X like you do everything in Windows. Does that make sense?
Yes.
All right. Perfect.
Thank
Good
you.
question. Very good question. All right. Anybody else? Going once, going twice.
Alan.
Yo.
If you're carrying over trades, and do you go through these whole steps on the Sunday, turning things off and turning them back on, or will the trades that are active be affected?
No, they will not be affected because the market is closed. That's another great question. The market is closed, so nothing happens. So when it opens back up, again, you want to go through the steps of, you know, resetting your settings and all that kind of stuff. But those trades are kind of hanging in limbo till the market opens up again. So it wouldn't cause you any problems at all.
Okay, thanks.
Yes, sir. And by the way, Jim, how we doing on that? How we doing on that Bitcoin, son?
They told me it would take probably 10 days, and we're probably 4 or 5 days into it. So maybe by the middle of next week.
There's a business in here for us, right? If we can make Bitcoin easy.
Yeah.
All right.
Thanks.
Yeah. Anybody else? So I saw a comment earlier by my good friend Ryan, Captain Confusion. Was I confusing people? Hopefully not.
No, not at all. Because you said I have many names, so I was adding to my list of names.
Oh yeah, come on. You're not Captain Confusion, bro. I learned most of what I know from you. Anybody else? Nothing. Going once, going twice. All right, guys. So the next event that we have is tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. Central Standard Time, 9. Yeah, that's a better one, Myra, Captain Clarity. From 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. Central Standard Time, 9 to 10 Eastern Standard Time, I'll be back on. And the purpose of that particular Zoom is to set people's software up who have gone through the welcome.tradewise.com and still can't get it done, all right? Which is fine. You know, really the tool that Ryan and Jolene have created is an invaluable tool. Michael Faust also pitched in on that. Gord Bars, some great minds went into this document, and it is a very good thing for you to try, okay? Try to do it on your own. If you can't, that's totally cool. But the first question out of my mouth is going to be, have you read the welcome.tradewise? Look, A guy on my team called the other day. He's been in for a month, still hasn't set his software up. I sent him the link. He was able to set it up. So, you know, try. Go to welcome.tradewise.com. It's got such great stuff. And like I said, everybody who has participated, if I left somebody out, I know I probably did, just know that we are truly grateful for trying to systematize everything that we have going on. All right, guys.